So I'm gonna take from them now. And I'm gonna force them to their knees. It should be fun. What do you think, Oz? You in?
Let's dance, you crazy bitch.
What's up, guys? We're back at it again. This is episode 2 of The Penguin.
So we got some catching up to do.
A lot of catching up to do.
We'll get there. Maybe not by the time the finale goes.
No.
But we'll get there.
This is for the people who have seen it and then want to relive it.
Exactly.
At this point. But, fuck it.
We're rekindling that beauty that was your first time watch.
Mm-hmm.
Just to cut through the bullshit, I say we get right into it. Intro scene of the episode was, I think, Sophia's nightmare. Mm-hmm. Right? Which I liked how they played it, because it's... Am I wrong?
Nightmare might not be the right word. She's being hypnotized, but hallucination? I don't know. Verbiage?
I said nightmare because it kind of twists into where she's seeing Alberto get shot and everything in front of her, which is a good switch up. It kind of sucks you in immediately, where you're not just thinking, how is this scene gonna end with her some poignant
it was a cool visual switch too. It was the whole red light. So the scene kind of pops off. Obviously, you just talked about her brother gets shot, and then the alarms start going off, and it's this cool LED transition into some device that her therapist is beaming at her eyes. But
it's like Men in Black.
Literally, it is whatever that fucking thing is called, and then she starts spazzing out. I looked up the dude's name just because I was curious or whatever, but the character is Dr. Julian Rush. I didn't know if you know that as a character to be or anything.
I don't think so.
I doubt it's like some sort of comic level Easter egg, but the reason I want to bring that up was that they had that weird kind of dynamic, in my opinion. I don't know how much you remember.
Where it was personal?
Like he didn't necessarily seem like a doctor position, if that makes sense. Like, he got emotional with her in a sense where it felt like he was trying to get in there.
Yeah, that would be interesting if they get into the details of that, of maybe it's a romantic type of thing, to where it did seem like he genuinely cared about her breakdown and stuff like that, and tried to get in them guts.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. That and the money, it's a little bit of power. Mm-hmm. She crazy though, and he know it.
Which is a cool aspect, because I do think it is, it is a little bit like The Sopranos, with therapy and shit, but something like that, to where because of her statue in the mob and everything, that it would be an unorthodox type of relationship that you would have with therapy or something like that, where it wouldn't just be you're an appointment. This is a very personal thing. I don't know if you had other stuff to bring up. The main thing was, I did appreciate in the Arkham cell or whatever, they took lengths to make it exactly like it was in the Batman. So you have that grid wire in the window, just like how it was with the scenes with the Riddler and Batman. Her scars on her neck and everything. I don't know if you noticed that, but I think that's from like a neck brace or something.
That's the nightmare scene?
Was it later on?
I think so. Yeah, I think
I'm not wrong in that, right?
No, I'm pretty sure it's later on in the episode that you see the scars or whatever.
Which made me think about it, where she is always wearing
a scarf.
Yeah, a scarf or a dress that's high neck or something like that. Which I believe will be expanded upon. I know I've seen actual insane asylum stuff where they do have braces around their whole fucking head and shit, to where I think that's what that was trying to hint at. And I believe that's from the comics. Sophia Falcone is a character from the comics, from like the Long Halloween and stuff. Which I believe her whole backstory with being in Arkham Asylum and stuff is directly from the comic lineage. We move on.
Yeah, I mean, right after that, it's Penguin meets with Maroni for the second time now. That's the second time they've met.
I believe so.
It might be the third. No, it's... It's the second. The main reason I thought that was interesting is you start off with a heavy scene again, with Sophia and her nightmare, hallucination, whatever you want to call it, and then it's a hard cut to Penguin in his car sipping on Pepto. So, and that I think is just them talking about, you know, the nervousness. He's about to go in and see Maroney. You know, he knows. I think he fucked up last time.
I feel like he has nothing to be nervous about unless it's after the drug run went bad.
Yeah, I don't think he has anything explicitly nervous about besides what Maroney threatens him about, which is that he's right when he walks in there, he says, like, I ought to just cut you in half and tell the Falcones that you're
that's right. It's all after the fact of Sophia finding the body in the trunk.
Exactly.
That's
so you killed.
Okay,
so like he knows, okay, we can just snitch on you now and say you're the one. But also with that being, it's a nice little scene. You can tell that. I mean, Penguin just goes right into his negotiation and tells him what, you know, convinces him otherwise, because it wasn't a real threat. Mm-hmm. I don't like you're saying, Maroney didn't really have a reason to be mad at him. He was just playing his cards to see what he could get, and Penguin offers him, you know, the drop setup. So that inevitably, when he starts breaking that down, leads right into the action of that drop sequence, where, you know, the ambush, all of that. But
which again, I'm really appreciating what they're able to do. I talked about it a little bit in the last breakdown or whatever, where in 5 minutes they're able to set up everything, and it already has stakes. Like, you already know this is big shit going down, and then immediately, right when it's about to kick off, and you think the operation in itself is a dire situation, boom, Johnny Vitti, is that who I'm talking about? Yeah. He pulls up, and he's like, no, fuck that. Oz, you get in the drop car, and not the safe car that he literally just told Maroney not to fuck with. So now Penguin is in the firing line. Now it's up to him to figure this shit out. And so that's really cool to watch Oz try to play it cool in that van. He's talking bullshit with the boys, and again, it's all this ruse, really, where he's trying to play it cool and get himself in a good position. And that's where you see him pop up from the chair to get up to tell a fake joke and everything, to get in preparation.
He's waiting for his timing. And
exactly, where he talks about it later when he's I don't mean to jump around, but when he's talking to Victor, and he's really trying to hone it to him, where it's like, you have to be quick. Yeah, everything could change on a dime in this business or whatever. Like, you have to be able to think on your feet, on your limp foot.
Yeah, your big, gross, nasty foot. I watched that scene a couple times because I was trying to figure out when exactly things were going right and when they were going bad for him, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to tell because he's playing both sides. So when his plan gets messed up, now he's in the van. Like you talked about, one of the first things he does is get up and move to the back, and he takes out 2 of his own guys, and then because the driver gets shot, so the first thing is the driver gets shot, and then in that chaos he kind of waits a second, plays both sides again. He's acting like he doesn't know what's going on, then tries to casually kill them. Then one of Maroney's dudes opens up the door to get the drops. Yeah, and that's when he kind of reveals himself, like, hey, I got your drops right here. And the driver notices him, so he has to kill him. Or no, the driver kills the Maroney guy. Doesn't kill him, I'm sorry, because he's the one that ends up getting captured. Okay. But so the driver knows what's up, but the driver gets got, and then he walks out of the car because Maroney guys just got shot. Yeah. And I'm assuming, this is where I got a little bit confused, but I'm assuming the vehicle that pulls up is the follow car that he was supposed to be in. Yeah. Because he points his gun at Castillo.
I really liked that scene.
Yeah,
I'm glad you pointed that out, because he says his name, and there's this tone in the body language is that he's about to take him out himself. And then I really like that fake out where, again, you're seeing it in real time of his weighing the scales of whether or not to follow through and which avenue to pursue in this, and what's going to turn out best for him. So in that split second, he chooses not to kill him and instead is like, let's get the fuck out of here.
Kills the other guy and then
saves his life.
Saves his life, because that leads into later in the scene when they're small dialogue to make Penguin seem safer.
Yes.
But that's kind of revealed afterwards. Right after that scene, though, it cuts to a small scene with Sophia again.
Is this where she wakes up? Is that what I'm thinking?
She's in the car, so it's not that one. I don't think you see neck scars. This is just radio talk. That's where it talks about the hangman. But you hear about they're letting crazies out of Arkham now. But talks about the flood. It's just all backstory or connecting the show with the events of the Batman. But it's cool background for her. Definitely.
I'm just curious of whether that is actually like an applicable name to her, or it's just the fact that she has many bodies or whatever. Like I'm just curious where the hangman moniker comes from. Like if that's just a press thing where she's killed a bunch of people so she's the hangman, or if she's actually went out hung some people or had dudes hung.
Well, I guess that's true that when she confronts Luca, she says like verbatim about like, why aren't my brother's killers hanging throughout the city? So maybe that's just one of her that's how she shit down, is to hang motherfuckers outside.
Cartel style, hanging from a bridge.
Show them what's up. After that, it cuts to
they're at the mansion or something after the... Is this where like it goes from the grunts talking and like, they came out of nowhere?
Exactly. That's what I was talking about, where they say like, and Castillo wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for Oz. So she overhears that, and it's just very subtle work to show that she's like, okay, Oz isn't in her mind frame of like why shit went bad necessarily, or at least lowers him, I think. And then he fucks up, in my opinion, by trying to be the like, anything you want, I'll get it done. And she's like, why are you trying to help me all of a sudden? What the fuck is this about? Kind of sees through him.
That's what I like about her so much, is she's able to just see the writing on the wall and be like, what the fuck do you want out of what you're talking to me about here? You need something, and it ain't about me. It ain't about helping my...
Calls him a dog.
Exactly.
You're just looking for scraps at this point. But after that, I think it cuts to Penguin at his apartment with Vinny. Kind of starts their relationship, or pushes their relationship along a little bit. It's a lot of plot overview, but bonding between them, I don't know if you remember.
Who's Vinny?
I wrote Vinny, I meant
Victor?
Vic.
Okay.
My bad. But, Vinny from fucking Snooki. Vinny was the best. Vinny's my boy, low key. But it was like Snooki and all them.
Was Vinny the DJ dude?
No, Vinny's the white boy.
Okay.
That hung out with Paul.
That was my favorite.
Was the white kid?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Vinny. Vinny's
No, I'm talking about the DJ.
Paulie D. Dude, he's hilarious. And he was like,
fuck yeah, let's do it, yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was like 27 while they're all like 21.
They seem like it. It's nuts.
But so it's him and Vic at the apartment because, sorry to over explain, but the shooting just went down, so Oz is about to host for the boys. Like, he ends it with giving a speech like, we shed their blood too, so now it's just the hangout after shit went bad or whatever. But Vic gets tacos, and Oz is like, hey, I told you no cilantro. And he's like, it's all over the fucking place. You're like, might as well put soap in my mouth. But he's like, get to picking. And then basically there's a good story in there with him. Again, it's bonding between Vic and Oz. He starts telling another story about a guy, Pinchy, that he used to know. He asked him to be asked Oz to be his driver. And the whole point of the story is he didn't know how to drive, so he stole a Buick and crashed it, but he learned and he got the job. And then Victor asked, whatever happened to Pinchy, and again, just nice little back lore or whatever you want to call it. He was taken out by Mr. Falcone, Pinchy was, and then Falcone saw something in Oz and took him with. So I think they're trying to mirror that with him and Victor and just push that story.
Yeah, it's not all fucking rainbows and roses to where, again, for Penguin to get an opportunity, there had to be an opening made, which again is kind of it's just a contradicting narrative in a sense, to where it's meant to be a bonding moment with Penguin and Victor, but the underlying thing is like, my mentor got fucking killed and shot, and I got an opportunity, and what does that spell out for Victor? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, just the contradicting message in that I really appreciated.
Another little thing I noticed, a little Easter egg, because I went back and I looked at the first episode, I didn't see her in it, but it's kind of the intro to Victor's personal life too, where
he gets the text.
Yeah, he gets the text from his girl, Graciela, but we haven't seen her yet, so I think she's in this next episode 3. But then Oz tries to introduce her to Roxy, who's a whore. And then a little bit of that. She's from Shameless. I thought I kind of recognized her, but I don't know much about her. I think she's done small roles.
Never seen that show.
It's niche. It's mid. But at the end of that scene, Penguin goes into his little abode. We get a little build on his relationship too. This is the love section of the breakdown of the video, because Penguin gets some action from his whore, from his girl, but it was just cool. You can see that she's probably the closest person to him. He trusts her the most. She can see through him, and so it's just that cliche of she's his girl. But the whole thing is that he goes in there to pull out the dirt on our boy John. And he tells her about it like right away, which I think is poignant to that trust thing, where like he's told Victor about the plan, but she's as close to him as well, that he knows she's not going to be the one to fuck him over. So I think she's a poignant character, I guess.
But still could be a liability later on.
Exactly.
Because if she gets got and tortured or whatever, who knows?
For real, that's the whole thing that she brings up, where she's like, do you think I want them come to my door? And she starts sucking him off. Then right after that, guys, plucking at the heartstrings. Just dementia scene to the max. Mama's got it bad.
Well, that's what I liked about it too, is you could tell something was off with her introduction in the first episode, but they don't outright spell it, where this time when you see her the second time, it's really, they lay it out for you of what's going on with her and her issues. And just the fun dynamic with the landlord, who begrudgingly has to be her caretaker, basically, under the threat of Oz.
Hey, Oz is bilingual. That's what's up. Inclusivity.
But yeah, I mean, the little dance scene and everything, it does tug on the heartstrings, and that's really cool. Again, it shows that back and forth dynamic where she kind of fuels his fire, and then she keeps him grounded. And still kind of tethered to the pavement rather than just floating off up into the skyscrapers.
I hear that.
That was overly metaphoric.
So, it's Oz dancing with his mama. That leads... He's late for the funeral while he's there. So I wrote it as a question because I don't know, but he missed the actual funeral.
Yes.
Right? So he missed it. And then
Sophia tries to catch him on that.
Yeah,
where he just bullshits.
Says he was in the back, and then leads into a joke about like, what's the name? What's her brother's name?
Alberto?
Oz says Alberto would have hated it, and that kind of loosens her up, and then she's not detective mode anymore. She's not really looking at him anymore. But he also opens up about his brother's death and stuff.
Yeah, and that's a cool scene to where Oz pulls up, and there's the whole press protest type of thing for Sophia, and she's hiding behind these pillars and everything back there.
And sick.
Yeah, pure aura.
For real. It does look nice.
But that's just a cool thing to have her kind of literally hiding in the shadows of all that commotion. And then that gives ample opportunity for Penguin to come in and kind of be the hand that reaches out in a sense, because she is kind of the black sheep of the family because of her past and everything, where I think there's that level of fear where people don't want to fuck with her really, but they also don't want her around too much, so and we'll get into that later with the whole reception or whatever you call it.
One thing we did skip over that kind of leads into that perception of her is the scene with the detective, the druggy detective, fucking addict, drophead, piece of shit. But it was just a cool power play for her to walk up and use the family name and push him into doing what she needs done.
Again, I do, just to offhand note, I do... Again, I like and I appreciate the little bring-ins from the Batman movie, where it just helps with the world building so much, to where drops and everything. Again, from the movie, you have like the DA who's a drophead and stuff like that. It's not just a bunch of junkies on the street. It's from high to low.
Very accurate. Something that I don't think or don't know that they're able to do in like original comics or tales, you know what I mean? Like, I think it was very basic. This is kind of mute to the show, but of like an original Batman comic book, it was just the like poster boy thugs, street level thugs.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you had gang leaders, but I don't think they were willing to have an issue about like, what if John F. Kennedy... You know, I don't think they're taking out actual government heads in those series. It's just real to life.
I think most of it was kind of corrupt mayors and stuff like that. The roster of Batman is so full that for a show like this, you don't need to bring in Clayface or whoever the fuck you can. There's so many mid-level thugs who are not just street peddlers, but still are, you know, they're still part of the Gotham hierarchy, and they're able to be big bads for a show like this without bringing in, you know, Mr. Freeze or something.
When he's talking to her about his brother's death, is that when he has to lie about Mama, or was that an episode?
Yes, that's when he lies about Mama.
He loosens her up by talking about his brother's dying and how it drove his mom crazy, and she opens up and asks what changed, and he said, you know, cute line, hope it was me. But the ending of the story is that he went out dancing with his mother, which is a cool mirror of that's what he was just doing with her when she was going crazy, is going back to that moment of, hey, we can always just dance, we can always just have fun and ignore the craziness around us. But she asks him about his mom, and his quick thinking, he has to, or I'm sure he said it that hundreds of times to everybody or whatever.
That
she died a year and a half or year and a half back, so we know she's getting got.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what I was about to say. Is I think that's the foreshadowing that that's going to be a fracture in the foundation of what's going to fuck his shit up. Pardon my French.
No, I mean, she was literally just walking around outside. Didn't know what day it was.
Again,
so
I like that they're setting it up to where her illness is probably what is going to put Oz in a bad situation and kind of expose herself, and he's going to have to think of something, or it might be too late. You know, maybe the damage will be done by the time he gets a hold.
So he gets a text from Mrs. Maroney. Sophia has to go do her little thing. It's just a short scene, but the detective did do his job. He found he found somebody. He brought her a body. So that leads later into the plot. That's the only reason I'm really bringing it up.
Yanked him from the hospital.
Yeah.
Right? He's literally in a hospital.
He's in the back of the car with an IV bag, and he's like, he's about to die. You should, if you want some answers, you should ask him now.
He has his forehead sweating, he's like, I got her.
Yeah. I got exactly what you need. But Penguin goes talks to Mrs. Maroney, which is a nice little scene.
Almost gets a knife in the gut. But yeah, again, his quick thinking, he's able, which I thought a little bit that, which is nice because when he pulls up to the funeral, he is late so that, I forget his name, but I think it's Sophia's uncle. I think it was Luca. Yeah, it's Carmine's brother or something like that. He's now the Don or whatever. He's the head right now. And they established that Johnny Vitti, who's one of the lieutenants or whatever, is banging his missus. Yeah. And so you get that wasted potential there to where he's unable to get that dirt to him and cause infighting in the Falcons, where again you have this deck of cards and you can't play it at this moment. Yeah. But when your back is against the wall in another moment, you still have that card to play, and he plays it well and able to get him out of being God. Yeah. My jacket pocket. But no, another close call for him. Yeah. Not to detract too much, but I just wanted to mention, dude, we watched the breakdown at the end of the episode. The actress for Mrs. Maroney, oh my god. Oh dude, my god, she toned it down for the show, but it was literally maybe she was sick at the moment where they did the commentary or whatever, but like straight up, like I can't even do it. No, it's the most raspy. I'm not trying to insult her, but like it comes with power. Yeah. I don't even think it's like an insult. Like she would scare me. Yeah. Dude, I literally just like she said. She's every like sub teacher. What did they say what ethnicity they are? Because it's not Italian. That's the whole thing she was saying, is that Maroney married her or whatever, where Maroney is Italian. I think they're like Czechoslovakian or something. Okay. I think it's like Russian. Yeah. One of those. Something. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's literally what she was. Like, no acting, no nothing. She straight up was, she was a mob wife. Yeah. But now, after the whole service, it's back to the manor. Maroney Buddy is down below. He is unable to be questioned at the moment. He hasn't woken up, right? Is that the... Yeah, they got him tied down. I don't think it's so much that he can't be. It's just a timing thing where... Well, you're right, because Sophia says, let me know when he wakes up, and they just kind of put him down there. But don't take much for Penguin to get it going. You know what I mean? If they wanted to get the job done, they could have started shocking that motherfucker. But, yeah... I think Sophia's second eating scene is the intro to that event, kind of. But again, it's that hangman stuff to where all of that is kind of haunting her, because the minute she enters the room, it goes silent and everybody's just like, she's a fucking crazy bitch. Yeah. And again, I'm not saying I need like a reason or some sort of context for where that mannerisms come from. Or whatever, where that mannerism comes from. Jesus Christ. Say it one more time. Where that mannerism comes from. There we go. But her eating quirk, to where, again, it's when the spotlight is on her. You've seen it a little bit where she was eating with Penguin in the first episode. And it's, again, that common thread of people are talking shit about her, and I think it's that embarrassment or whatever to where she starts just stuffing her face, and this time a little bit more aggressive. Yeah. Now she's grabbing grapes and smashing shit. Yeah, she's making a show out of it for sure. But it does skip over the family a little bit, because I think it's the eating scene cuts away to Penguin or whoever, and then it cuts back, and that's when she's talking to her cousin. Okay, yep. So that's a nice little other scene, too. She's got a cousin named Carla. Nobody gives a fuck about this bitch. But she comes up, and she's like, yo, how you been? Just fake white girl shit. Yep. You know what I'm saying? I love your outfit. You've always had good taste. Yep. Which does seem to be genuine on Sophia's side. Yeah. Where, again, that's what kind of the tragedy of it is. She's slowly... realizing and looking through all the fake faces that talk to her, to where you do kind of end up on her side.
Carla, her cousin, walks up, and Sophia is suspicious from the get. She's in her head, so she is standoffish. Carla kind of breaks through it by asking her questions. Your outfit looks nice. Hey, do you remember Italy? Remember the scandalous things we used to do? And so then Sophia kind of opens up to her, and as soon as that hits, that's when the whole thing happens with the daughter, and she can tell, oh, she actually doesn't fuck with me.
That's what I was trying to say, is when push comes to shove, all the fake shit goes out the window, which I would assume is going to eventually go into her owning that. I think that's what it's going to be, is we're seeing little tinges of her embarrassed in a way of that history always being around her, to where I think she's just going to own it, and that's going to be her power that she kind of manipulates to get some standing.
What would the Instagram hoes say these days? Like that whole slay bitch vibe? It's her bad bitch era. Cause it was kind of a weird cut, because if you weren't paying attention from the beginning of like what the plan was, cuts right to Victor at the event in somebody's car, with the jewels.
Yep.
And
he's trying to plant them in Johnny VT's vehicle,
so
right?
The original plan is for him to plant the jewels on Johnny VT, and then that plus the wife will lead into this whole breakdown of the mob. But because caught.
I don't think we ever established that there is a narrative that there's a mole within the Falcone family, right?
That's true.
So that's the whole motivation behind what Penguin is doing, is to take, which I would argue that he's the obvious choice. Penguin is kind of the odd man out who is a little loose, and his loyalty could be questioned, to where if he points the scope at somebody else, he's out of the firing range.
Yeah, that's a good point too, where him snaking his way out of that. So this is jumping back a bit, but right after the drop goes bad, they're in the board meeting, and that's when you first kind of get a look into Johnny VT, or he becomes most potent again. Besides the hey, you're in the back seat, he insults Sophia. I don't know if you remember that, but that's when Sophia comes in and she says, like, why aren't my brother's killer hanging in the streets? And then he tells her to basically shut the fuck up.
Okay.
And then Uncle's like, hey, watch who you're talking to. That's my daughter, or my niece. And Oz, they cut to Oz to show that he's paying attention to, like, hey, he's kind of in heat right now. I can maybe pin this on him. So that's interesting. And then we cut back to Victor's in his car trying to plant the jewels. This shit was comedy, dude.
He fucks it up.
Dude, he fucks it up bad. He's fumbling around, dude. There was the dude that gets up on him had to have been like 10 feet away the whole time.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he gets to the car, somebody's on his shoulder. And he's like, what are you doing in here? He's like, I work here. And he's like, are you stealing from the car? And a bunch of guys break out of the house and start chasing him. And it cuts to a back shot, a behind him shot of him running away. I'm trying to think of like who.
Hey, I don't
the guy
blame
from
him.
Terminator. It's so great.
I don't blame him.
Fucking locked in.
He got out of
just
there.
bolting, and he's quick. You know brothers can run. That boy was zooming. He was gone. And then it's not right away, but 20 minutes later, it's just him on a tree, dude.
Yeah, calling.
He's probably like 4 blocks away, just like, I couldn't do it.
Which Penguin's quick thinking. I think then he goes to talk to VT or one of them or something, and it's like he knows about Sophia doing her shit on her own, where he's like, why couldn't you tell me about the dude you got down in the basement? And they're like, what dude down in the basement? Which, again, it's quick thinking. It's able to mix up the water in the stew.
I will say Mrs. Maroney did give him the heads up. That was something that she... Yeah. I guess she did have to do it or whatever for his plan to work, which would help her, but...
Well, that was part of her threat or whatever.
Yeah, I think, too, was like, he's about to
narc on you.
I'm trying to think how it went right after he fucks up the scene. It's pretty much, just Penguin following the grunts down there, finding...
where they're keeping him.
His name is... there's no possible way for me to say this right, guys.
I feel like it's Irvad.
it had, but even Oz like gave it the proper like erfad, like it has a breath in there somewhere, I don't know where, but Middle Eastern man, again, inclusivity. But he's tied to the bed down there, and it's just Penguin trying to convince him, hey.
Well, he's trying to tell him Johnny VT or something like that.
Come ask you who you've been talking to. I need you to say the name Johnny VT. And that goes pretty quick, because that's when Victor calls. And it's like, I couldn't get it done. So he knows the plan is fucked.
Oh, so that happens down in that room?
Yeah, so literally right after, the guy's like, Johnny VT.
Yeah,
he gets a call, and he's like, well, I have to kill you. So he just pulls out a big-ass pocket knife and stabs him in the chest.
Yeah.
It was a good scene.
Which, again, I think this is episode 2, so there's 6 more to go. But one of the things that I saw Colin Farrell talking about in a presser interview was that progressively, he was saying himself that like it's the first 3 episodes where you build that empathy for Oz, and you're like, all right, he's sketchy, he's not a good guy, but there's honor in what he does, and that kind of keeps degrading each episode. And I think we're really that flower is starting to blossom to where I think it's just going to keep being heinous activities, to where, again, you're on his side in a sense, to where you know this loose end has to be cut. But again, the camera doesn't shy away from sticking with Oz, to where you as the audience have to stick around while he's sticking this guy.
Yeah.
And again, you're stuck with it. You know what I mean? You can't escape from that in the actions that he's doing. And I will say, I think Oz would be a lot bloodier than I think his whole hand would have been fucked.
There's no way he would have been able to clean that knife in time without it being like, I don't know if that motherfucker had a handkerchief I didn't see. I think he literally does have some.
Was there a sink down there?
I don't know. But
even then, dude, like, I get bloody noses, and that shit like gets into your fingernails and everything. So it's like, dude, you just gutted a guy like a fish. There's no way your hand is not covered right now. But that's besides the point.
Yeah, because he gets away with it. He goes upstairs, kind of shuffles around because he knows somebody's gonna find the body. And so within seconds, one of the guards goes down there, sees somebody's dead. So it's like, hey, everybody in the house, you're not leaving.
Lock it up.
We know the rat's in here. We're gonna find somebody. So they start lining up everybody. You got your Johnny VT. You got your Castillo. You got Oz. All the big names of grunt-wise of the Maroney family, right? Or no, this is the Falcone side. So all the Falcone big heads are in the room, and Sophia starts freaking out. Well, no, interesting enough, Oz has that intelligence to him, to where as soon as he sees Johnny, he knows this is the guy he's got to pin it on, right? So he starts a fight with him, and the acting's good. Particularly, there's 2 levels of this. I'm not talking about the actor who plays Oz, but Oz's acting as the character is very good. Of like, hey, it was you, wasn't it? You fucked us all over. Not trying to be loud or, like a comic show where like you're trying to make a big scene. Like, it's very personal, where he's lying to his face, like, you're the one who fucking did this.
Yeah, it's the subtle play though, because in a trapped room like that, everybody's gonna notice. For him to scream to the rooftops,
just start doing play acting.
Exactly.
Like, hey.
It would bring immediately back onto him.
But he starts a little scuffle with him to plant the knife, so that when they're start checking bodies, it's not on Oz.
Which is again, I really liked it as a fake out for me as an audience. I'm not trying to say I'm fucking big brain or whatever, but I never assumed Castillo or whatever. I probably said that wrong. But immediately, because Johnny VT is the subject of Penguin's framing this whole time, you think he planted it on Johnny VT. He was literally just manhandling him, to where when they do the pat down and they don't find the knife, you're like, wait, what the fuck? And then it comes out of Castillo's pocket or whatever, where, again, it was just a really, really good fake out. And I think that works a little bit better, too, because Penguin just tackled the dude. So immediately, VT could have been like, dude, that's not my knife. Penguin just planted it on me.
He was just all over me.
Exactly. to where now that Viti's taken out of the equation, you can put it on Castillo, and his lying comes off as, or him telling the truth comes off as lying.
Yeah.
To where there's not that immediate connection to Penguin right there. And then Sophia buys it, right?
Yeah, Sophia sees Castillo, instantly hates the guy. Instantly is like, you fucking, starts giving the whole spiel, you're the one who killed my brother, this, that, and then starts aggressively asking for a gun. Somebody hand me a gun, like several times. Somebody get me a gun, somebody get me a gun. And that's when Big Papa Luca, unsafely, he was behind her. I don't think this would work in a range, but he shoots Castillo.
Probably blew her ear out.
Yeah, she's deaf as fuck right now. But from behind the back, blows a hole into Castillo's chest cavity, which is poignant because that leads to her writing him off, because he takes the shot and then it cuts to them in the room, and she's angry because she wanted to kill him for revenge for her brother. She's very sentimental, if you don't know. So she wanted to be the one to take his life, wasn't allowed to, and then that's when Luca gives her the same speech that her cousin gave her earlier in the day.
Yes, yeah.
Hey, don't you like to travel to Italy? Like, you should take some time and go there. It's for you. It's for you. Basically, that's the moment when she goes into her bad bitch face. It's a cool scene. It's good acting of her shutting down.
That's what I was going to say. You can, again, like the fluttering of the eyes and the darting, it just really, again, acting in her face without saying any words, where you're able to see that the whole recollection of what the fuck is happening right now, and see the strings being pulled, which is really nice, because then it even adds more hollow context to her cousin, where she probably got word from Luca to do that in the first place, which I'd imagine she's Luca's daughter, the Carla girl, exactly, or whatever, right?
That's where I got the name, because he brings up Carla, and that is funny. She was probably shaking, like literally, like she was like, Dad, I don't want to
do this to me.
Don't
Dad.
Make me go talk to her. It cuts away from that after Luca's trying to give his spiel to Sophia. It just cuts to Penguin in the grave. Another interesting scene between Penguin and Victor.
Yeah. Well, and really, again, like, I think in Penguin's twisted way, it is him trying to help him by showing the consequences of what happens when you fuck up. Yeah. It will be interesting from here on out, though, as far as, like, how much Victor can roll with Penguin if anybody does recognize him from fucking around with the cars.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
Like, all it takes is one grunt to be like, hey, your fucking driver was digging in. Maybe you could play it off as he's got sticky fingers or something like that, but even then, I don't think...
You think all black guys look the same? Just something stupid?
Yeah.
That's racist, bro.
But again, I think in Oz's twisted way, that's him... That's the bare minimum he can do without literally killing Victor, to try and push the point across that, like, you don't get...
Yeah.
You really don't get second chances in this. You have to fucking capitalize. Which, again, I'm hoping that pushes Victor into more of a prominent role. Whether that means he's gonna take up to the task and he's really gonna start pulling his weight, or if he starts to back pull. Maybe his personal life comes in and he doesn't... You know, when has to choose the paths down the road, maybe he does want to stick to his roots and with his girl or whatever it is that they establish.
I'm assuming that's what it's going to be. I think this next episode, you're really going to see his struggle with what he wants his life to be. I'm assuming he goes down the wrong road.
Which, again, I like this actor and I like the character that they established, so I do want to see more of him and him being a driving force. I was trying to say this in the last episode or whatever, but I want to feel that he is the driver of his own car, in a sense, to where it's not just all of the Penguin being like, do this. Hopefully that comes along with the personal established characters that they're bringing in.
After Penguin gets done punishing Victor, he gets a call from Sophia to meet him. That's a cool scene. She's at the... I don't know what you'd call that. Is that a mosque?
Yeah, like
a walk-in graveyard?
Yeah, I'm not good with those type of...
I don't know what those are called, but
yeah, it's got the, like, the... Not headstone, but like the memorial type of thing on it.
Where vampires sleep.
Yeah.
So she's there. It shows the dates of her dad's life, her mother's life, and now her brother. So she's the last of this 4-family syndicate. But she has called Oz to meet her there, and they're gonna have a little meeting about how she's feeling, because she's feeling pushed out of the family is basically how it goes. Where during that conversation, one of the main things that I wrote down here was that I couldn't tell. I mean, she's teaming up with him, so I'm assuming she believes the Castillo's situation 100%. The way she phrases it is kind of weird, where she brings up the jewels and she's like, killed my brother, did this all for what? For some jewels. Yeah. You know, and then, but right after that, she's asking Oz to team up with her. So I don't think she's suspicious of him. I don't know if she's suspicious at all, but it was just a in-between moment for me where I can't tell what exactly she's thinking or what her plans are.
Again, it could be pre-planning in a sense to where she believes it for now, but then maybe something in future episodes is gonna mess with her perception or reveal something to her where it's like, well, Castillo wouldn't do it for this or something. That puts the blame back on Penguin. One thing I did want to mention, on the graves they put 2022, which I did like, to where the story takes place immediately after the Batman. So technically we are in the past a little bit, which will be, I don't know if it's super intentional other than continuity, to where they might link that into the Batman Part 2, to where they are able to say, you know, if the movie comes out in 2026 or something like that, that they're able to say it's been 4 years or something since the ending of the Penguin. But other than that, that's...
No, I think that's pretty much it as far as I can think.
Yeah, you get your nice little, Let's Dance.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I'm assuming it'll be a very powerful partnership with no hitches, and that everything goes according to plan.
Yeah, I'm assuming everybody from here on out lives, and that it turns into a sitcom that runs for 9 seasons. Yeah, so it should all be wrapped up, ready for episode 3. I don't have any main predictions or anything. I'm kind of just along for the ride at this point.
Yeah, I think episode 1 is a good place to make predictions of what's going to go. And I think I'm going to wait to make any predictions until things happen further on. Maybe by the time we get to episode 7 or something, we'll guess about how it all goes down or something.
True.
I do think, like you're saying, I think some of the elements are a little wrapped up. Not in a finale sense or anything, but I think this next episode is gonna bring more things to it's gonna be more of a catalyst episode rather than continuing certain plot points. I think more things are gonna be established rather than continued.
Very true.
Which I'm excited to see.
I think we're gonna get a deep dive into Victor's life this next episode, and then who knows about what else.
Probably Sophia making some big plays. So more to see. It's exciting. That's about it.
Catch you next time.
Deuces. You gonna hit the accent?
You know, I can't really do...
A little bit.
I mean...
So I'm gonna take from them now.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna force them to the knees.
It's the Margot Robbie with the nails. She was talking about the nails. But it's very mellow. See, she does it pretty mellow. And I do like her acting. She's got good acting. She really only pops the accent when she's getting ferocious. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna take from them now, and I'm gonna force them to the knees. Don't smirk at me. What's up, guys? Your drink of water, that's fair. Hey guys.